Last fall, we brought you the story of 12-year-old Mallory Grossman, who died by suicide. Her parents telling us she had been taunted by fellow students over texts, which they believe led to her suicide, and they feel her school district did not do enough to stop the harassment after numerous complaints, allegations the school has called categorically false. Well, in a new development, just yesterday, we learned that her parents have now filed a lawsuit against their school district and township. And now another story of teenage suicide that also involves claims of bullying. Teresa Tronerud was just 15 years old when he took his own life. His parents are now accusing their son's school of doing more to protect Connor's bullies than their son. Watch.
Connor came out ready to roll in this world, and that was him.
Jason and Teresa Tronerud say their son had many friends, excelled at school, and loved the outdoors.
I think that was his way of kind of getting away from things, because he was always a little bit different.
Connor also had a close bond with his older brother, Kyle.
My favorite memories are hearing them laugh in the TV room upstairs, laughing together.
Connor and Kyle both attended Mariannapolis Prep School, a private Catholic school about an hour away from home in Connecticut.
I definitely didn't like him being, so far away for school.
But he had a lot of opportunities there,
Teresa says the bullying began in the fall of Connor's freshman year. At first, she thought he was just making new friends.
And I'm like, buddy, I didn't know you were so popular. Your phone is like buzz, 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 buzz. And he's like, ever kind of rolled his eyes at me and was doing his homework, and that was that.
But then Teresa says she came to believe Connor was being bullied over text messages by fellow classmates, though she never actually saw the texts.
I never asked Connor about the text. The more that we tried to have conversation about it, I knew that he was just going to shut down.
The school informed her when Connor emailed an advisor for the school's summer camp, requesting old photos of him be removed from the camp's Facebook page. Connor wrote that he was being bullied using the pictures, and that it made him incredibly upset.
There were pictures of him that made him look like a very little kid holding a duck, at a farm or something. Pictures of when he was heavier,
younger,
I would imagine.
chubbier.
Teresa says she met with school officials armed with information about the phone numbers texting Connor, and says together they came up with a plan.
They were going to call Connor in and have conversation and check on him. I mean, I thought that the plan that was put into place happened.
That next summer at camp, a state social worker was called in when a friend came forward to report that Connor was harming himself and expressing suicidal thoughts. That December, Connor died by suicide.
And to this day, we still don't have answers to what happened last year.
Joining me now, Teresa Tronerud, Connor's mom. Teresa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's only been 6 months. Why are you speaking out about this publicly?
Because I don't want any other family, any other child to have to endure the pain that our family has gone through.
What made you say he died as a result of bullying?
Because I know that he was bullied immensely, and I know that it broke him down and it made him feel the way he did.
You know who was responsible for the bullying now? Yeah.
Yes.
You're not saying it publicly, but you know. And what about the school? Because the school's response has essentially been, we did all we could. We investigated it. Connor was telling us he was fine. And there's only so much any school can do to prevent an action like this.
Honestly, they didn't do anything as far as I'm concerned or we're concerned. The plan that was put into place to monitor and follow up with the phone numbers and watch Connor and his classmates in times that they would be together, the education that should have occurred, there's no documentation, there's no evidence that any of that occurred.
So his phone just started to light up one day with all these texts over and over and over. And you didn't know who they were from. You thought it might be friends.
Right. as I said, I kind of joke with him that he was, oh, you're so popular, your phone is just buzz, buzz, buzz. And he was not a social media person. He was not a texter. He was not a phone type of person. And so for that amount of buzzing, as I use that term, I was like, what is happening? But it was the beginning of school, and so I just assumed as though, meeting more people, having conversation, until I got the call that he had reported that he was...
He had reached out to the summer camp counselors saying, take down those pictures of me because they're leading to bullying,
right,
which is incredibly upsetting.
Right.
So there's a question about what the school did after that. And when another incident happened months later, what obligation the school has to protect your child when a red flag has been raised. We'll pick it up there right after the break. Trotter is only 15 years old when he took his own life this past December. His parents say bullying was the cause. Back with me now, Connor's mom, Teresa Tronerud, and her attorney, Wendy Murphy. Great to have you here as well, Wendy. So, Teresa, there was that incident. You don't feel the school followed up on the people behind the texts, hundreds of texts a day, and they said they'd look into it. You don't feel they did?
Correct.
And then there was a second incident. He went back to summer camp, right, the following summer, and one of his fellow campers reported to a counselor that he was engaging in self-harm and having suicidal thoughts.
Actually, a former classmate from his previous school that Connor had shared with had communicated with a camp director. So
they did tell you that you were looped in at that point.
Yes, at the camp.
And so what, to those who would say, he was having issues, you as the mom were alerted, what could the school have done? What say you?
I'm sorry.
We're trying to raise the red flag for schools to understand their obligations and what more they can do to help parents.
So in Connor's situation, when he was at the school, at the camp, he had an evaluation. It was clearly brought to his attention. He was found safe at that time, but the root cause of the issue needed to still be addressed.
The bullying.
Yes.
Why do you think the school was not interested, in your view, in doing that?
They wanted to keep it quiet. Who wants to bring attention to themselves?
Mm-hmm. And I know you say we're not naming the chief bully, but you believe this person was from a prominent family, and you think the school was interested in protecting that family?
Yes.
The school, we should say that we requested an interview with the Marianapolis, the lead investigator for the independent report that looked into this, and I know you're unhappy with that report. Mm-hmm. Both declined to answer our questions, but they did give us a statement that reads in part, when it was suggested that his suicide in December 2017 was connected to bullying, he'd reported back in 2016, we were surprised, they said. We addressed this issue in 2016. There were no additional bullying complaints raised by Connor, and we understood that the issue was resolved. We've critically examined everything we did, and while we wish we could have intervened more, Connor was a very private person and did not reveal the extent to which he was struggling. What's your reaction to that, Teresa?
That's absolutely not a good response. They didn't address anything. They didn't.
What is the school's obligation, Wendy, right? Because you hear them saying, look, Connor didn't want to really talk about it. Their defense is that he didn't want us to go to the individual bullies. He thought that would blow it up more. So what is their obligation?
Look, most bullying victims don't want to make a fuss,
right,
because they're worried it's going to get worse. They're worried about retaliation. The grown-ups, the school, the officials who are responsible for keeping children safe are supposed to act no matter what the child says, because bullying is highly correlated with suicide. And you don't want to risk that child getting worse and worse and ending up in this tragic situation.
So it's not enough to say he was a very private person.
Oh, that's a ridiculous response. Absolutely ridiculous. And if that's their defense, they're going to face a lot of legal problems. Because if that's a school's response, well, we tried to ask the child, but he didn't want to talk about it, and therefore you do nothing?
That's true in virtually every bullying case ever in the history of mankind.
And then that's a lawsuit that I'm going to win.
Yeah. I'll give you the last word on that.
And they never came to me and said that they changed the plan, and they didn't follow the plan that was set. I trusted them. You know, I had no reason not to trust them to do what they said to protect him, regardless of whether he was private or not private.
You felt they were going to follow up on their
Right.
promises, and they
And
didn't,
there were
according to
multiple
you.
additional reports. And so,
Teresa, I feel like I don't know how you're sitting here right now, as articulate and composed as you are, but thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and trying to help others in a difficult time for you. And Wendy, all the best to you, too. You're a
Thank
rock
you.
star. All the best to you guys. We want to remind you that if you or someone you know is contemplating or having suicidal thoughts, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. We'll be right back.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.